99 races have been done in this game cycle on F123 up until this point. Well, today, in all tiers combined, is the 100th race on the F123 game cycle in RPL. Welcome along, folks. I'm your commentator, Ryan Searles. I am by myself today. Just alone, and I'm okay with that. However, let's go through a lot of things that need to be spoken about. Before we get to headlines and standings and all that cool stuff, we're going to talk about the fact that we're racing in Qatar tonight. A racetrack that we've raced at twice already this game cycle. Once in Season 10 later in the season. Once in Season 9, the season opener. And this circuit has definitely provided some interesting moments for sure. We had past teammates in the same academy, Florian and Grogers, collide last season. Beatnik took a podium in his fifth, maybe different season. I'll look at that later. And he did that for Aston Martin. Lennon made a debut for Haas last night, last time, excuse me. And he ended up taking a P4 finish. Also in the thick of things, we have Hunted, the race winner of this race last season, and Season 9's winner of Instincts. Owen got a podium from the back of the grid. The winner at round 6 every season on this game cycle in Tier 2, meaning the last 2 seasons, Season 9 and 10, have gone on to win the championship. Round 6 in Season 9 was at Belgium. That was Owen who went on to win the championship for Red Bull, his 3rd title in RPL. Season 10 was Hungary, round 6. It was Hunted who ended up winning the race by a staggering margin, going on to win the championship for Red Bull as well. And tonight's round 6 in Qatar, which should be an interesting one, to say the least. Let's go over some headlines, and then we'll get to the standings, because standings are not immediate. But we got a qualifying session on board with us. Likely going to be dry conditions tonight. We don't expect any rain. This circuit almost never gets any rain, and if it does, that'd be a big shocker. We've got, obviously, we mentioned already, Race 100 on the F123 game cycle in all tiers combined. This counts F2, F1 Tier 1, Formula Endurance, and more importantly tonight, Tier 2. Zatsy is now the Merc TP, or Coke TP, excuse me. To Wavy Knife being the TP now. Beatnik is now a Tier 2 full-time driver at McLaren. Benz is the Academy Assistant for Mercedes. As you will see in just a moment, Valk is serving a qualifying ban due to penalty points racked up. Tadpole has switched from McLaren to Alpine. Beatnik, obviously, we mentioned no more Merc for him. He is now a part of the Alpine Academy. Term, after his actions last week and his actions added up from the past, has resulted in him being banned from racing in RPL. It's unfortunate for him, but not as unfortunate for some of the drivers who've been victims of the melee that have happened. Benz was one of them on the opening lap. That's what caused his retirement. We didn't get to see that on stream. However, there was a point of view from the back of the grid that showed Term causing Benz's DNF. He'll get a chance to make start number 2 tonight. Grogers is now full-time for Ferrari. He is George Alp Williams. We'll call him George from now on, since he has switched over to PC. J&T made his return to RPL racing in Qatar last season. He is here tonight for Alfa Romeo once again, full-time. 19 drivers in on the session. Egg making a Tier 2 return. He returned last week in Formula Endurance. And the other thing is Yano is making his RPL return. He raced in Formula Endurance on Sunday, but is finally back here in Tier 2 tonight. We'll get to see what he does. And now some drivers go out on track, either on mediums, softs, or inters. And our first runner out on track will be Kipu. Centrix is lagged out. Could someone jump in for Alpha? I just joined the league. I want to show what I'm worth. Let me see who's in the AlphaTauri tonight. Just reading the chat messages, with that being said. No, I think it's Blue Goggy in the AlphaTauri. It's supposed to be Kipu and Blue Goggy, the two in AlphaTauri tonight. So I think you may be mistaken there. Yes, Kipu and Blue Goggy. I'm going to send the stream out to some who are watching or need links. So while I do that, we're going to go on board with Kippu, who is starting his lap. Keep in mind, this one DRS straight here is very powerful, and also just remember, too, the fact that track limits going to be a big factor we talk about tonight. I think Leon Miners may be late to the session. Maybe going to go on AlphaTauri instead of Bulgogi. We'll check this one, just in case. Because Bulgogi could either be not racing anymore tonight, or he could be just late and joining mid-qualifying, and Leon is then not supposed to be here. But either way, here comes Kipper through the ending parts of Sector 1. That's an exact place where you can go very wide and invalidate your lap time. Kipper's not done that so far, and this is probably the slowest section on the track right there. You saw a little wiggle out of his car, and now he comes to the S section. Lots of time, lots of places where you need to hook up your laps here. There's the Red Bull of Bonkers. Yellow flags in the final sector for him. He's starting a lap. Kippu a little wide. Says it's not his favorite circuit, but his team AlphaTauri has taken points 2 weekends in a row after going a full Tier 2 season without scoring points, which is 11 races. They scored points last season in Austria, but not since then up until Japan with Kippu. And then last week at the expense of Bulgogi, returning to the points for the first time since round 11, season 9, Brazil. Here comes Kippu to be the first one to set a benchmark in Q1. There's going to be 4 going out here of the guys in this session, and Kippu will set a 23.7 to start us off. Our next driver to start a lap will be Mythic. We're going to go on board with the Haas driver. Decent straight line speed from the Ferrari Academy cars. We saw a little bit of blocking and qualifying in this area last season. We got to be careful with the drivers to know which ones will be more aware of the fact that you got to get out of the way quicker, even if you're just coming out of the pit lane. As we see a car coming out of the pit lane, funny enough, right now. First couple of corners for Mythic looks okay. He's not scored points this season, and he's only had 1 points finish since he last scored points. Since he last scored double-digit points, which was Austria, season 10, round 3, hunted fastest, beat Nick on the times, on Inter's, Bunkers, sets a lap. And now here comes Mythic through the middle sector. This corner's a tricky one, can easily lose, the rear could easily snap it. Lots of different lines you can take. You can either be right on the curb or just right off the curb, because watch right here, you got to go through 3 triple rights. 1, 2, and 3. And these curbs can be deadly to a driver. Not always going to be flat out. Same with this section. Going to have to let off a little bit. May shift down from some of the drivers. We'll find out. But battery around here is absolutely dreadful. Mythic is already below 10% coming out of the final corner. He turns on the DRS and comes to the start-finish line to be the 5th driver. Fifth driver to finish a lap, and he will be 3rd fastest. So let's find out who the next one is to cross the line to start a lap. It will be Owen, the championship leader. He's not finished worse than 2nd this season. He's put on a thrilling show for us, no doubt about it. And not only that, but he has had a most consecutive starting streak out of the active drivers in our race tonight. One that goes all the way back to the finale in Season 9, round 11 in Brazil. He starts a lap here in Qatar. He had to serve a qualifying ban from previous seasons in Tier 2 at the end of last season. Valk's on track. I don't think that's a good thing because she's retired on track while having a qualifying ban. Either way, here comes Owen through the first couple corners now. Sets himself up for turn number 4, I believe. Going board with him. 5th gear, 6th gear. Going to shift right down. Oh, went up to 7th. Okay. A little bit of a shocker right there. Now here comes Owen purple through the middle, or sorry, the first sector, excuse me. Now in the middle sector. Let's find out what the Irish driver can do on his first lap in the session. Can he go safe enough to be through into Q2? Or will it be any mistakes that allow him to have to do another lap? We'll find out. Here he comes to the triple right, one of the trickiest sections in this game, I would say, just to nail it. I think it looks like he's nailed it just perfectly. This corner, jumping and hopping over curbs can be a tricky aspect. Now you got a Ferrari in the final sector, spun around right in front of Owen. That is HSR Gecko, I believe. No, it's George. But George's friend Owen comes to the line to set fastest. 21.4, 5,000 set of bonkers. It's going to be enough for the next session from the looks of things right now. And he is right in front of a McLaren who's just come out on track too. Although George spun, it looks like he's wanting to start a lap, it looks like. And here he comes, turn 1, turn 2. 6th gear, 5th gear through here. Already 20% gone on that battery. He's got yellow flags in front of him. Hoping these guys get out of the way. Owen's the next one. Owen will get out of the way. Little late from Owen, but nothing too severe, I think, to warrant any penalty. Now here comes George to the ending bit of Sector 1, 27-0. Invade spoke about in the chat, since he's not racing, that last season he was in Ferrari, top 4 start, battling for the podium until his controller disconnected. So, of course, these Ferraris around the circuit, fast as always. Instincts had a good finish with them in Season 9. It was a race win. Alex Baer didn't have as good of a finish, but he took a podium. And yes, just me tonight, Beatnik. Here we go. Triple right now. Track limits can catch you out here very easily. Let's see if he goes full throttle here. Yes, he does. But he's gone wide, and he's gone off track, and he has had a lap time deleted. That is going to cost him. He's coming back to the pit lane, so he will have to go for a second go at it. The Welsh driver facing a lot of issue already in his first full-time start since last season. He made a start earlier this season as a reserve in Canada, but he finished in the points after going out in Q1. Tonight he's going to hope for a little bit better in Q1, but not starting off to what he would have wanted. His teammate HSR Gecko coming through now, the slowest section on the track. Aston Martin off in the background, trying to get out of the way. Other way, Alex Baer, 4th fastest. More guys clocking in times. AMS Egg, Polo God, and more. Gecko coming through the ending bit of Sector 2 now. A lot of action around the circuit in this section, just simply because it's hard to overtake, and you have a lot of narrow, pinching-like sections in this area where if you do make an overtake, it's going to be hard to give room. Gecko on the limit here as he comes to the penultimate and now final corner. Will he sneak his way into the top 3 and get himself safe into Q2 with 8 minutes left now? Gecko comes to the line on mediums. He will be 4th fastest, so he's got a lot more time in that Ferrari, but good lap at that. Next to cross the line will be the podium finisher from last season in this race, Beatnik. He's got a podium in, I believe, 5 straight Tier 2 seasons. Yes, 5 straight Tier 2 seasons, and only one of those podiums were race wins. That was two finales ago at Brazil. 2 finales ago, Brazil, he was the race winner there for Mercedes. Tonight he's in the faster car of McLaren, already up in the time in the first sector compared to his Inter's lap. Beatnik famous for Inter's on a dry track. We have AMS Yano in his return for Haas crossing the line, 6th fastest. But now you got Beatnik in the 2nd sector. Not going to pick up any slipstream from any teammate or any traffic from the look of things unless it's the Ferrari coming in or starting a lap. That's actually Gecko coming in. Beatnik up by 3 seconds now. Going to be ahead of Kipu surely if he just finishes his lap without any mistakes. Could be ahead of Mythic. Should be ahead of Polo God with his pace. And then from that point onwards, it's a guessing game. Beatnik coming through the last corner here in Qatar, which is turn 14. DRS to the start-finish line for the McLaren American. And here he comes, 5th fastest, behind Hunted. He's going to have a lot of competition in tonight's race, no doubt about it. Let's now see what happens with Cintrix, who has had 2 P2s so far in terms of qualifying in his 2 opening starts of RPL. The American Red Bull driver has set Red Bull with pace at least better than they were before Japan. But now they have to find the results here. JNT is 6th fastest for Alfa Romeo. Cintrix is invalidated. That is not good. He's going to have to abort this lap completely, come back to the pits, get out again, and set a time, because right now he's in the bottom 4. We've got Tadpole for Alpine starting a lap here. The driver who raced with McLaren returned to the top step of the podium once again. But in recent races, he's had some screen freezes to where he has set himself as a TP back to Alpine and not on a top car. Alpine, 5th, 6th fastest car here in the game. We'll see what they can do around the circuit. It's going to be a 26.9, I believe, through the first sector. Yes, it will. This is actually looking really good from Tadpole. A car that's going to have a lot of straight line speed in this circuit tonight. No doubt about it. We'll see what he could do in this lap. Here he comes to the S section now. He's complete that just okay, it looks like. A little slidey on his car. Maybe that might be the setup. He's going to go through the middle sector now. 54.3. Now, final 2 corners for Tadpole. Balls to the walls right there, just on the edge, on the curb. Now he's going to go to this left curb and try to maximize this final corner. Goes a little bit deep, but nothing too severe. Running out of battery. Deployment used. This will be it from Tadpole, probably, with this one-and-done lap. It will be 7th fastest. You got to wonder, with that battery being fully deployed at the end there, could he have been ahead of JNT? We'll find out that for Q2. Mythic's on a lap in the middle sector. Who else is on a lap or starting one? We've got Zatsi in the middle sector, Polo God, Mythic's on a lap. We'll go on board with either Mythic or Cintrix. Cintrix back out on track. Actually, you know what? Back out on a lap. He did not abort to go to the pit lane, but he's going to go with this one. 2nd lap on the mediums for him. It will be one and done, it looks like, from him, but he's got to find the time through this middle sector and on tires that are much more worn than, say, Gecko, who ran only 1 lap on mediums, and get through to Q2 without any mistakes. No invalidation so far, but he's got 1 more corner to go. Turn 14, the last one. It's been mistake-free, it looks like. It's not been fully to the limit, but this is the Red Bull. You don't have to be fully on the limit, though. We could see that because he goes 9th fastest. This should be safely through. Now it is Wavy, Benz, Zatsi, and Valk, the bottom 5. Zatsi's invalidated. Obviously, Valk has a qualifying ban. But now we've got Wavy out on track, the team principal of Mercedes Academy. The new team principal of Mercedes Academy going to try to find a way through in Aston Martin tonight. His full-time seat after he got moved from Mercedes to Aston Martin. And we'll find out what happens here. He comes through now. The 4th turn. 5th turn now, just about. Ending bit of the sector is a 27.1. There is 2/10 to find in that, I'd assume. But if he's going to try to get through into Q2 safely here, he's going to have to find a little bit more time and going to have to push it a little bit without invalidating. Track limits is going to be a big factor tonight. It's going to catch a lot of drivers out. And we'll see how tantalizingly close some of these guys get to that white line and the curbs. Middle sector complete, 54.5. Still 2/10 worse than some of the guys I've seen just complete laps. But, again, he better be ahead of Polo God or else he's going to be facing elimination, and he's invalidated. He's going over the white line. Wavy Knife is going to be at risk, and Zatsi is out. Zatsi is out of qualifying. So now it's down to Wavy Knife and Benz on whether or not they can get through into the next session from the bottom 4. Now only 2 who are out on track in that bottom 4. We've got laps starting. We've got laps finishing. Polo God is safe and going back to the pit lane. Egg, I think, realizes he's safe as well. Wavy Knife is out. Now it's down to Benz, who is going to need this lap crucially. And he honestly can get through, but the interesting thing is that this may knock out George if he does not get a lap in. Benz is going purple. He's slower than what Wavy was doing in the 2nd sector, but again, keep it on track, Benz, and you will get through into Q2 for the first time. So last week for him, he had started 16th. Right now he's 17th, one place worse, and he's trying to get out of the bottom 4. Can he do it for Williams? He's done it. It's going to go down to George now, who needs a valid lap to get through, and then it could knock Kippu out. And if Kippu don't get to the line in time, it could be him, who's on the bubble right now, facing elimination. He should get to the line just in time, but we're going to need George to maybe make this a little bit more exciting. Doesn't need a fast lap, but needs a valid lap, and he's coming through the first sector 4/10 slower than some of the competition. Again, just needs to be ahead of Kippu. Mythic's retired in the pit lane, so he's only one of 3 drivers in this section who could be eliminated. George coming through the middle sector at 54.8. 5/10 worse than the competition, but again, doesn't need to be perfect here. It needs to be valid. And he can't go full throttle there. He's done better on that aspect. Can't go flat out here. He's loosening the rear, snaps it a little bit. Checkered flag is out. George is now coming to the final corner. You can't have any laps of traction mistakes here, just like he did on his out lap. He's done just fine. Deployment used, coming to the line. This might be safe. He crosses the line now. He is through, and Kippu is out. Kippu needs a better lap than Mythic now to advance to the next session. He's already finding some time. 3/10 up. Benz is safe. He's one of 3 drivers who were on track, and he's coming to the pit lane. So now it's down to Kippu here. Kippu's making mistakes. He's sliding. He's on the curb, but he still can find time here. Considering he was 3/10 up and how much farther he was off of Mythic, and considering that where that Williams is, I think he still can find time, but he's got to absolutely push the limits here. Where is he compared to the rest of the field? 3/10 up still. He needs to find 2 more tenths of this last sector to advance through to Q2. Here he comes, flat out, balls to the walls for the AlphaTauri driver. They need a miracle like they've had the last 2 weeks with points. Something different for them. A little wide in that final corner. That could be it for Kippu if he advances through or not. Here he comes to the line. Does he knock Mythic out of qualifying? Yes! He's done it! Kippu is through into Q2 after being the one at risk here. And in the elimination zone, he is now out of the elimination zone and into Q2. Here is your order into Q2 from Q1. Owen, Bonkers, Hunted, Gecko make it a different top 4 in terms of constructors. J&T and Alfa Romeo, nice surprise this session. Centric's a slight disappointment, same with George, but we know why they were slower than what they would be. They had mistakes and they had to get through, at least through the pace, and they did just that. 3 Williams, one of them being Williams. 3 Merc Academy cars eliminated in qualifying, Wavy, Zazzy, and Valk, along with Mythic. Valk a qualifying ban, Zazzy and Wavy couldn't get in laps, and Mythic, slowest of the ones who completed those laps. Feels amazing, man. Here for the entertainment. Wavy not looking good. Only 13th for George is concerning unless that wasn't full push. I guarantee right now, Invade, that was not full push there from George. And I will tell you why. He knows after invalidating that first lap that he was pushing on, he needed to just get a valid lap, and he knew he can go maybe 80% and get through into the next round of qualifying, which we are in now. 5 drivers this time will be eliminated rather than 4. Here we go. Let's go over the standings. Owen leads Lennon by 75 points. The largest gap any driver has had after round number 5 of the season in RPL Tier 2 history, as far as I'm aware. Also, right now, he's already scoring more points, Owen, in a championship season than TSR Cryptic did in Season 2 of RPL. If he wins tonight, Owen, he beats his Season 8 total of points in 4 less races. Also, gotta factor this in. At the rate he's going right now with podiums, he could be on podium every single race and have more wins than the driver who won a championship with in Tier 2, or in any season of Tier 2, having the most wins in a single season at 6, which was Jack and Owen themselves in their championship seasons. Only once. So a lot on stake for Owen, the season 4, 8, and 9 champion. And our first runner out on track is Bonkers. So yeah, Lennon, 75 back. Gecko has a chance. He's 81 back. But 2 podiums to his name is going to have to be more than just that. It's going to have to be a race win here at some point. Gecko's never won in Tier 2, so this will be new to his name. Tadpole, 87 points back. It's been a struggle the recent weeks, but he at least has a race win to his name, so there's some experience in the top step this season there. He's the only other one to win besides Owen. The last time a non-champion won in Tier 2 was race 100 of Tier 2. Lennon, Mexico. Constructors, Mercedes ahead of Ferrari by 30 points. Red Bull 53 points back. They need to find victory lane soon enough here. I said victory lane. It's the same as the top step of the podium. Just American sayings, I guess. The victory step, I'll call it. There you go. McLaren, they're 59 points back. 4th place. And a lot in offer here, but now we're now watching Red Bull's Centrix in his 3rd start here. Try to get through to Q3 right now. Here we go, turn 4 now through 5 and down to 6, so 26.8 in the first sector from Centrix. Up the gears he goes, a little wiggle out of him. And now coming through the S section to turn 9. And turn 10, here we go. It is going to be the middle sector now he completes with a 54.0. So already looking better for himself than Q1, no doubt about that, considering he was not on full push after invalidating the first time. However, this time you want to get safely through. The car just seems like it porpoises through that penultimate corner so much. We'll watch that. But, yeah, it's so unsettled. DRS out of the line. Deployment fully used. You don't want to use your better on the circuit. We'll talk about that later. 21.5 now to set the benchmark. Here comes George across the line. Or sorry, that's Gecko across the line. 20.0 or 20.8, excuse me. In that Ferrari. Next is Bonkers for Red Bull. Across the line he comes. Deployment use as well. 21.9. Not as good, but we'll see if he goes out again. AMS Egg, Tier 2 return. Here he comes. Slowest of them all so far, but that may change. Next is Beatnik, who got a podium here last season, his only podium last season. And he's going to go 5th fastest. Okay. Not what I expected. Next is Polo God, or sorry, Tadpole. Then Polo God later on. Tadpole 5th fastest. Then here comes George for Ferrari. This is not going to be as fast. Some mistakes possibly in this lap. Slowest of them all. Aston Martin of Alex Bear, who got a podium in this race last season as well. Fighting for the win at one point. 4th fastest for Aston Martin. Next is Hunted, who is invalidated that first lap. Then it's Owen, who starts a lap. We'll watch him now. Turn 1. Not as close to the inside curbs, but on the outside curbs, he's going to hit those. Car off the circuit, trying to get out of the way. It's an Alfa Romeo. Turn 2, now turn 3. Turn 3, right on these curbs. Then to the left side, on those curbs too. Turn 4 and 5. Shifting down. Maybe going to shift down again. Nope, not that time. 26.9. Nope, 27.0. And here he comes to the slowest section of this track. Tricky on traction. And now the S section for our Irish driver, the championship leader. 75-point gap. He's going to slide the rears, but he should be okay. And like I said, at the rate he's going, he's not only going to get the most points in the championship season in Tier 2, but he's also going to get the most wins of any driver in their championship season. With a longer season, more podiums. And also the biggest gap potentially at a 75-point gap right now. That's insane. Letting off a little bit here. Doesn't want to invalidate. Bouncing over the curbs right now. You can see it right there. Final corner now for Owen. This has absolutely been really on the limit from the Irish driver. 28%, 27, running out of battery. Here he comes to the line, and this has absolutely been on it. 21.9. It's not what I expected, but we know Owen can go faster than that. I'm surprised it was slower considering how much faster he was going, and he's off the circuit, giving us a little bit of fun. Next is Kipu. He's come across the line. He's completed a lap, excuse me. How about J&T? First points of the season last week in Singapore. It's been nice to talk about his return to RPL because, I mean, he's not been in the fastest car. He's not been in the slowest car, but with whatever teammate he's been with, he's been right up there with him. And I could see a driver who's put in a lot of dedication in this return to just be better. Be better on the circuit, not cause collisions, and get back on the podium like he once were in Tier 2 in a Mercedes, in fact. 26.9, it's not the best first sector, but considering he's in an Alfa Romeo and was better than Owen, it's good hope for him. His teammate, AMS Egg, right now, has set a 22.1. We'll see where J&T compared to him. Let me try something here in chat. Let me try to set up a poll. The Chiller, you said you helped out with that. Let me try now. J&T final couple of corners. This lap is still good and going on the rate of the top 5. Alright, this widget is not available. How about move to grid? It's still not available. What in the world? Okay. J&T, third fastest for Alfa Romeo, and that is a really good run. However, I do expect improvements from others. Blue Goggy is online, but I think he's going to be late to find out that Leon might be in his car. He is watching the Twitch stream, by the way. J&T has really stepped up his game. I agree with that, actually. Benz and Yano coming to the line. Yano is invalidated. Yano gonna go to the pit lane for new tires. Benz in a Q2 for the first time. Gonna set his first ever Q2 lap. This will be, on the timing charts, 11th. And then here comes Hunted. Pole sitter in this race last season. Just slowing down, waiting to start a lap for McLaren. He's taken 50% of the pole since the start of Season 10. And I don't expect him to slow down one bit on that. But he's got to have some luck go his way, because last week he was taken out by Valk. Which is why Valk has a qualifying ban due to multiple penalty points. This moderator view is nice on the Twitch, but I'd love it if I could sit here and set up a poll here, but I can't. Either way, here comes Hunted through the first couple corners. Needs a good run tonight. Not finished better than 5th this season, but hoping that changes here as he comes through Q2 and qualifying. First 3 corners look okay, but he's not set a lap yet. And he's now invalidated. I said that, and then invalidated. Commentator's curse right there. Unfortunate. Got George, who's up on the time. 4/10. He's lagging a little bit, though. And this could be a lap that sets him into Q3 safely from Q2. I don't understand. I don't understand why it won't let me set a poll up here. I want to set up a poll for you guys. I swear both Alphas have been in Q3 last 3 races. Correct me if I'm wrong. You might be right on 2 of the 3, but I'm not sure on 3 of the 3. The Chiller, you're watching. Let me know if you can set up a poll here, because it's not letting me. George coming through the last couple of corners now. Final corner. DRS applied, and on the run to the start-finish line. What is this going to be for our Welsh driver compared to the teammate? Second fastest Ferrari 1-2 once again. Well, then. Now we got Kipu back out on track. How about this for Kipu? Uh, 12th fastest, still slower. We'll see. Okay, I'm trying to help you guys here by setting a poll up. If I'm not going to be able to set up a poll up, I'll pin a message for you guys. Never mind. If they make it, it'll be 3 out of 3. Well, there you go. There is that. Hunted now again on a lap. 3 minutes to go in this session. McLaren were really on it up until a couple weeks ago. points since the end of season 9, and then last couple weeks, I think, or not last week, a couple weeks ago, last time they didn't score points then. They were on a good streak. Same with Ferrari. Ferrari had that broken in, I believe, Japan. Same with McLaren. Now the only teams with consecutive point streaks are Red Bull. And I want to say Mercedes had one, but they lost out on it last season twice. Hunted did not settle that previously, so this will be his first one, 53.7. And final 2 corners now for the Welsh driver. Looks like he's on the limit. Decent bit. See what he could do. McLaren sit third fastest with Beatnik right now. Excuse me. Cindric's also went 4th fastest earlier on as well. Owen 7th. And now Hunted will go 2nd fastest. So that looks like a lap that's safely through into the next round. But we have the bottom 5 now consisting of Tadpole, Benz, Kipu, Polo God, and Yano. Nobody on the lap now, but we have guys coming out on track to start a lap. The first one will be Tadpole. And this will be the last lap, the last full lap we watch, potentially, of the session with 2 minutes and less remaining. And if you're not getting out on track now, you could likely be out of qualifying. And I see a Mercedes coming out on track. It is Owen, who's going to try to defend that 8th place and get a little bit higher than he is right now. Oh boy, we got an issue. We're wondering who took Gagi's AlphaTauri. I think we know the answer to that one. Here we go. It is now Tadpole's chance to set an Alpine Academy car once again in the Q3, this time with the Alpine team, the main team. Here he goes through the first 3 corners, looking safely smooth. But now, turn 4. It's where everything can go wrong. It went wrong for others, invalidating, but right here, looks just about okay. I had to lift a little bit. 26.8, 2/10 up. So right now, improving. Already below 60% on that battery. Just using so much battery on the circuit. But now, is this where you want to push more or not? This is what Tadpole will find out. It might not be one and done if he doesn't validate, but it's one and done in his battery if he doesn't validate. That's for sure. Where is it going to be now in terms of rankings in the second sector? It is going to be 4/10 up, so he's looking like he can get through. But got to find more time because there's guys behind who can still improve. Got more drivers getting to the line. May not all make the checkered flag, but here comes Tadpole with traffic in front. He might be safe. He's got an AlphaTauri. He will get a slipstream of some sorts, but it may have thrown him off a little bit. Everyone will cross the line in time. But Tadpole's the first one to cross the line to improve a lap. It will be 7th fastest. Owen will have to improve. Next is Polo God. No, it's not Polo God. It's someone who just started a lap or completed one. It was Benz. Couldn't do it. Alex Bear, 6th fastest for Aston Martin. Only Haas in the session is Yano. One and done here for him as well. He will set a lap that's valid, but can he get through? He was impressive in Q1, and he's going to be impressive again in Q2. 8th fastest, and now Owen has to set a lap here. He's 11th right now, and currently facing elimination. Egg, who is in the relegation zone, is spun out, and he's out of the session. Polo God has never done a Qatar race here, but he won his first ever league race in a league owned by me a year ago around this time. Sorry, 2 years ago, possibly. Now he's looking to get through into Q3. Polo God can only do 13th fastest, but still, at least he got a lap in and has experience around the circuit for the race. Owen is going faster, 8/10 up in the time. He may go actually fastest here. Can he do so? No, but he's 2nd and safely through, knocking Bonkers out. This is big, and he's coming to the line now to knock Tadpole out And he will do so. Fastest for the Red Bull. Kipu couldn't get out. Now it's down to Tadpole, who's invalidated. And Benz was also invalidated too because he was on an in-lap. So it's Tadpole, Egg, Polo God, Benz, and Kipu out. Both Alpines. That's a shock to me. Because look at who's in from that. An Alfa Romeo and a Haas. 2 Ferrari Academy cars. And J&T's lap that was done the first time was good enough to get through. Yeah, it was a year ago around this time Polo God won his first league race in a league owned by me at the time. He had done 70 races up until that point and hadn't won a race. Well, he's still not won a Tier 2 or Tier 1 race here in RPL, but he's had some podiums. And now in Alpine, I don't think a podium is a target tonight for him, but I think he's going to look to get points after a qualifying session like that one. First time around the circuit, minimal practice, out of qualifying along with the other race winner of the season, Tadpole. AMS Egg joins them in that relegation zone. 12th fastest. Ben's 14th, no surprise that he's out. He's in a Williams, and AlphaTauri's Kipu is out as well. Slowest of them all, and in the slowest car. Bonkers, though, fastest, 20.7, and this has been a really good session from him. Even though he was facing elimination, he has turned things around. 4 different cars again in that top 4. 2 McLarens, 2 Ferraris, 2 Red Bulls into the next round of qualifying. Then it's a Mercedes, an Aston Martin, an Alfa Romeo, and a Haas. 20.7, the fastest time in Q2. And now, who is going to take pole position in the 100th outing of RPL events and races under the F123 game cycle? Happens tonight in Tier 2. And we'll find out what happens. It would have not been the 100th race by now if it weren't for an F2 finale in Abu Dhabi being 1 round instead of 2. I feel like there was something else that caused this to be a little bit later too. I could be wrong. Well, we don't count sprints, so that's not actual races. Yep, so RPL Twitch chat, there is 9 of you watching. Send this out to your friends. Get a few more to watch. And if you don't do so, at least give us a prediction in qualifying for pole position here in Q3. We have a couple guys who have got pole position already before in RPL, but never in Tier 2 or not at all this season. In any of the tiers, in fact, for some of them. Let me just search through here. I want to check the pole time from last season and see what it was while I'm at it. Qatar was round 9 last season. And the pole time was a 20.8. So Q2 was already faster than the pole time last season. However, I'm going to go with the pole time being a 20.4. I'm going to say the top 3 is Centrix, Bunkers, and I got to go with the Ferrari in there somewhere. This is tough. I'm going to go Gecko. Hunted may be close. George may be close. Owen, don't see him having the car around here, but we'll find out if that changes. I hope it does. Here comes Beatnik, our first runner on a lap. Turn number 4 here. A little after the 50-meter braking zone is when he let off. A little wide there from Beatnik, but he knows the circuit well enough, but not in the McLaren. 26.9, the first sector it's going to be. A little wide there, but you know what? He actually made his exit of the corner a little bit better than his entry, so he made up for it. Now McLaren, the only team to reveal their livery in 2024 for F1 racing in real life. Maybe they can reveal some shocking pace here in Q3 in a good matter. Middle sector, 53.9 for the American driver. He is one of 3 Americans in this session. The rest made up of European drivers. Now Beatnik coming through the final corner. And this is going to be the benchmark time that these guys have to beat. DRS open on the run to the line. 20.8 was the pole time last season. He's going to go 21.4, 0.6 slower, but he still has a chance to improve that. Next up is the Ferrari of Gecko, who will go 20.7. Next is the Red Bull. Centrix goes second fastest. Then it's the Mercedes of Owen, who is coming to the final 2 corners. He was fast in Q2. Not as fast in Q1. Obviously, Q2 lap time improvement, track evolution. But now Q3 is where it matters. Here comes the championship leader. He's not missed a race since Italy, round 10, season 9. But he's going to miss the top 3 this time. Bonkers goes third fastest. Next is Hunted, who could take something away from these guys. He's invalidated, though, so that's the issue for him. J&T's invalidated as well. So now we're going to rely on Yano for Ferrari Academy to set a good lap here. What will it be for him? 6th fastest, slowest of them all. Here is George also now coming through. What is this going to be for the Welsh driver? George is 8th fastest. Not got a lap time on our hands from him. Yep. Yellow flags, that is for Gecko on an in lap, but here comes George starting a lap. Last season, George qualified 4th fastest for Ferrari behind his teammate Alex Baer, only 2/10 off pole position. And here he comes, starting a lap now. Turn 1. A lot of different lines, a lot of different ways you can take it. Turn 2, a little bit different than that. Turn 3, right on the curbs this time compared to Owen in Q2. Not on the left side, though, until we get closer to the corner, where he's now going to make every apex of those double rights. And this is actually good because this is a 26.6 for George, but he missed the braking zone a little bit. Little wide, but better exit for the Welsh driver. What can he do now in the 2nd sector? He looks like he's flying, but he's on those curbs, riding them. Hunted, aborted. I think Yano did too. He's in the pit lane. Obviously, he was on an in-lap, though, not an actual lap. 53.6 from George. This is getting really good. His first race on PC could be some magic stuff here, and he could be fighting Owen, who's also been really great from that transition to PC. Not a slipstream from the Alfa Romeo of J&T, but George Alp Williams could set this Ferrari on pole position over his teammate or make it a 1-2. He was 4th in qualifying last season. This season in Q3, it's going to be 4th fastest, though. So not as good as I thought, losing a little bit of time in Sector 2 and 3, but still a decent showing from him. He will go for another one if he just makes it back to the pit lane here in the next 2 minutes. L74G has left the session. One of our spectators. League owner. Alex Baer now in Aston Martin here. What can he do for this lap time? How about 5th fastest? They were quite fast in this race last season with Florian in Tier 2. In fact, the same could be said as well with Florian in Tier 1 too when he made a reserve appearance last season. And now here comes the champion from last season. Or sorry, the last season. Currently, championship leader. And champion from season 8, 9, and 4. Excuse me on that one. Owen, Bonky, Hunted, Gecko, Owen, George. The top 3 from some of these guys making some predictions. Interesting. L74G league owner has joined back. Well, Kagi, I know you're wondering about that, but the only thing I think that can be done at most is a restart for that with someone else being in your car who shouldn't be in. Leon is not a part of the Red Bull Academy as far as I'm aware, and he's come in to probably spectate, and he's in a car when he shouldn't be. And he knows this, I'm sure. He just don't care. So, that's the only thing I think that can be done at the most. Owen coasting here and setting himself up for a really good starting lap, but he's going to come back to the pit lane because he saw something happen here on these tires. And he can get back on track quicker because he's the only Merc car in this session. However, guys like Hunted, guys like Centrix, the same can't be said. They've got 2 cars in this session. Alright, there you go. I have pinned something for you guys since I can't do any polls, which is quite annoying. For those of you wondering and needing to tune in for the rest of the weekend, wondering where we're at, not aware of where we're at, there you go. This may be the final hot lap we watch, and it's going to come from Hunted LAX. And if he can get pole, it may be a party in that LA, but right now, he needs to X out the mistakes. Turn 2, he comes through. One of 2 drivers not to have a lap on our boards, but now hugging those curbs right now, as you can see, to try to maximize everything he can. Neat through this section. Got to hug the inside, but not invalidate. He doesn't hit those yellow curbs. 26.7, just a tenth slightly worse than George. So it could be top 4. If he can maximize Sector 2 and Sector 3, it could be even faster. Here he comes. Inside curbs, those can catch you out very easily, but it's not caught Hunted out. The driver who won the championship last season. Reigning champion, of course. Trying to look to get back on form here. He's got 1 pole position already this season. He's one of 3 drivers in this session to have poles from the season. Purple, 53.6. We're seeing the lap times and the track evolution improve. With just less than 2 minutes remaining, he could even go for another one here. But this could be it from Hunted. And this could be the pole position that he's been missing since Texas, and that good momentum surrounding it that he needs to finish in the top 5 once again. Here he comes to the line now. Hunted, maybe one and done, but this is going to be 3rd fastest for Hunted. Look at that area. 2nd to 4th, 16 thousandths. Make it a little bit more now with Centrix staying on the front row for now, a 10th off of Gecko. We've got driver starting laps now. Bonkers, Yano, and more. I think the only one who may have a tricky time making it to the line to start a lap will be that Ferrari of what looks to be George here. Yano, last one on a lap. I do expect Centrix and Hunted to gas it up and get to the line, so maybe go for a second one. Centrix, the likely candidate of those 2 to make the line and go for another one. But now we've got Yano and Haas. We've seen a good starting spot so far in Tier 2 twice from Knights and Haas. Now we're looking to see if Yano can do it this time here for this team. This team's never had a pole position in RPL. They've had podiums in Tier 2 in this game cycle. 3 of them in Season 9, none last season. But they had a lot of points finishes with the championship leader Owen when he was racing for them. But in his Tier 2 return, looking to make a name for himself. George will get to the line just in time, but Centrix will not. And George is lagged out. George is lagged out, so that's a checker flag for him. Same with Centrix and Hunted. Yano, the first of our guys to cross the line to see where they can go on our timing charts. Right now, of the drivers completing laps, he's slowest in them all, but he's looking to go higher than 9th. Can he do so for Haas? Rear wing open, coming to the line. He stays slowest, but he does improve the lap time. A little bit faster. Bonkers now for Red Bull is going to try to deny Gecko of a first pole position of the season and take pole number 2, Bonkers. Can he do it? Across the line now, and he goes pole! Can Owen, the championship leader, stop him? The answer is yes! Now can Gecko improve on that? The 3rd guy to improve? Not enough. Not enough for pole. Alex Bear, can he take an upset? It's going to be a P6 run. And now Beatnik, the only one who could deny them. J&T comes across the line for Alfa Romeo. It will be 9th fastest, but Beatnik looking to take pole. 3/10 up, gonna have to find time in the last sector. Has he done it? No. So it's going to be Owen with a 3rd pole position this season and racking up everything he can for this season in season 11. The season he's leading the championship by over 70 points. He's on pole once again for a 2nd week in a row. I think my top 3 was right. With Gecko and Bonkers. I mean, not Centrix, but I don't count out Owen. That top 3 split by just under 800ths, and it's a 20.5 from Owen. How about that? What a close qualifying there at the end from all 3 of those drivers impressing. Here's your running order. 2 Red Bulls not top 5. Beatnik, Hunted, Alex Bear, George, J&T, Yano. What if George could get in a lap? That could have been the question. He couldn't. Right as he crossed the line, he lagged out. Chat, give us some predictions for the race now. We've got little time from that point onwards. Here's your strategy, though. Drivers will likely go soft hard or soft hard or medium hard. We do expect a soft medium to be possible, but it's a Hail Mary. Pit stops should start around lap 8 onwards. Hards can go 2/3 of the distance. Your pit stop loss around here is 24 seconds, and you gain back 17% on the battery in the pit lane. By the way, for reference, though, just want people to know that you can't use a lot of battery on here, and if you do, you can't use much of it, or else you're gonna drain the sucker. Something laps on our hands for the 100th outing of racing on this game cycle. And it comes at Tier 2 Qatar, where it all started in Tier 2 just 6 months ago. And now we come 6 months later for racing here. Round 6 of the season. Round 6 of the last 2 seasons, the champion has won this race. And we'll find out if the same is said once again. In fact, I think it was a pole to win those 2 races too. But I could be wrong. Season 10, it was Haunted who won. Round 6, Season 9, it was Owen. And Tadpole's lagged out. Yeah, let's see. Season 9 winner was Instincts, by the way, to correct myself. The lights are coming on, and it is time to kick things off here in Qatar. It's lights out, and away we go. Owen off the line decent, but he's going to have Gecko to challenge on that drag race down to turn 1. Owen does try to cover him off, but they're now 3 wide and 4 wide behind that. The 2 McLarens squawking around, but it's Owen who takes the lead of the race over Gecko, keeping on. And there's a spinner at the back. It's AMS Egg around, but side by side for second place, it's going to be Gecko getting the upper edge. Now Centric splitting the 2 McLarens. Egg going to lose out a ton of time on them, but now they squawk around further behind that. Single file all the way till 12th. Zatsy is the one who's double file with some drivers, and now the moves are being made down to turn number 6 here. Owen leads, and they're now single file up till Yano, who's side by side with J&T, gets the place. Zatsy with the teammate. Side by side here in the S's. Valk already up 8 places. That's amazing so far, but here comes Mythic and Wavy drilling it out. Only side-by-side action further behind that is Leon Miner and Wavy and Kipu, it looks like. They've all figured themselves out as we come to this 3rd sector. And off! It's Wavy! Wavy's in the gravel. And Mythic got a piece of it too. Up in front of that, it's going to be Owen McMoran, who leads lap 1 for Mercedes. Just when you think he's out of it, he's not. Alex Bair to the pit lane for likely a front wing change. 3 spots for Yano, 2 for Hunted, 9 for Valk, 7 for Zatsi, and 5 for Leon. Here comes Centrix on Hunted, gets the move done behind that J&T Yano, and they all race down to turn 1, 2 by 2. Inside line for Yano. Valk's going to use the outside line to her advantage. Takes the place. 9th place, 10 spots for her already, and looks to get some more here on the back of the Alfa Romeo of J&T. This is really good from her. This is exactly what she needs. And here comes Gecko on the back of Owen already. Wavy claiming whatever happened to him was intentional. He is changing some damage along with his teammate. Wavy said ban Mythic. Oh boy. Well, it's not a good sign from him. Back of the grid, we have Tadpole lagging out and needing an invite. We'll do that now from him. Nope, he's joined. We're good. And here comes Gecko. Not close enough, but struggling a little bit in that last corner in the dirty air. 6-car breakaway now from the rest of the field. No DRS just yet. They'll get it next time by. Fastest laps being traded, and now we got moves being made. It's Valk on the run to turn 1. Inside line on J&T. J&T a little bit wider, but it's Valk who takes the place. Now up 11 places on those softs. Battery being used, but we're going to go to the back of the field with Mythic, Tadpole, Leon, and Egg in a 4-car race here. Don't look like there's going to be any moves at the time being. And now back to the lead with Gecko trailing Owen by just 0.2. Yeah, I agree with you, Invade. A fantastic start from Valk. We'll see what happens here. Leon Miner and Mythic now trading some spots. Tadpole now gets the place on him. Mythic gonna hold it in there. Mythic off the road. Mythic still off the road. Comes back on and they touch! Tadpole's been spun around and Mythic got a penalty at the expense of that from track limits. What was Mythic doing is now gonna be the question. He was behind Tadpole. Not fully enough alongside. Had to concede the place. Didn't. Caused a collision. And Tadpole, in the opening 3 laps, 2 seasons in a row, has been involved in a collision. Last season, it was Leon Miner. This season, it's Mythic. And for the lead, it's Gecko. Sorry to miss that, folks, but Gecko takes the lead of the race. And that's the Aston Martin Wavy being lapped. Moves being made further on back, I believe, at turn 1. That is correct. Now here comes Owen once again, trying to close that gap. Sorry, turn 16 is the last corner, not turn 14. I made a mistake on that already. Oopsie daisy. Leon and Egg. Little contact there at the back of the field. Leon overtaking off track. Weaving and bobbing, I think. Letting him go. Fair enough. Now as the top 4 is broken away. McLarens have lost a little bit of distance to the guys just right in front of them. Main straight, battery being used by Owen. He's not turned it on at all yet. Gecko has a little bit. And here comes Owen for the race lead once again. This time we will catch it because Owen is not going to make a move. Owen is going to sit in behind and do exactly what happened in the Tier 1 race where they conserve ERS. And Polo God gets the upper edge on Zatsi for the first place outside the points. Further on back, we've got Leon and Mythic having a little race down to turn 1. Mythic's going to be on the inside line. Mythic gets the place. Leon has to contest it. Will slide from the lap car Wavy. They may get DRS from him, the two McLarens. Aston Martin, not the best start to this race that they would have wanted. Wavy just out of contention unless the safety car comes out, which is what he's going to hope for. Wavy can't do his usual thing and just give up here because he actually has a chance here if he stays within these guys within a 10-second radius once pit stops come. And if a safety car or virtual safety car does come out, Hunted now is the second driver to pick up a track limit penalty this race. And they have definitely nabbed him for that one for sure. Owen not using any battery. Gecko not using any either. 5% difference from them. And now the two McLaren teammates are going to do a little swapperoo here at turn number 1. Behind that, Valk and J&T. Yellow flags further on back, and that's the Aston Martin of Wavy around, who did not need that to happen. And Valk going to hold on to J&T. Back off there with the lag from Gecko. Bonkers picking up a time penalty. The 5th different driver to pick up one now. In just a span of 6 laps. Keep in mind in the Tier 1 race, we only had, I think, 3 or 4 drivers, maybe at that, not have penalties at the end. Maybe less. Be lucky if we only had 3 or 4. Wavy has not got force feedback again. It's the 2nd time in a row. It happened in Miami in Tier 1, and now it's happening in the Tier races full time and in Tier 2. That is, of course, unfortunate, but out of his mistakes, or out of his, you know, out of his misfortune, I guess. But, yeah. So, top 3 drivers going to have a chance to make some overtakes here in turn number 1. Owen being the main one. Is he going to go for it, though? And that becomes the question. I think he's going to sit in, relax behind Gecko, and think about it. 3 wide almost on the main straight, and we do see 3 wide. It's going to be George who takes on both McLarens, getting the place on both of them. He's ahead of Haunted. He's ahead of Beatnik, and wowee. Wavy is in, and I think that's going to be a retirement. And it is the first one of our race. Oh. And Wavy not happy. Same Ben Mythic again. We have a spinner in the midfield. It's Polo God. He's missing a front wing in that same corner, which cost Grandpa a potential chance at the championship last season. This time it's going to cost Alpine Academy some points here. Polo got a 3-second time penalty trying to get back onto the circuit in a safe manner. No front wing at all. I'm going to have to repair that one. Still yellow flags for Wavy. Knife's retired car. Polo got getting overtaken by the team principal, Tadpole. Owen sitting behind Gecko again as we're about to reach a third of the way in and not going to overtake him. He's going to save more battery and play the long game, and I think Gecko's wanting to do the same. But out in the race lead, you're not going to save as much battery. Look at that battery was 79%. It's now 81. Owen was near that, 5% more. And now look at where he's at. Almost full battery. The only time you really should be using battery around here is when you're about to pit. And speaking of pitting, here's Polo God changing a front wing. So Polo God has already broken some sheet metal off of his car. Gonna need to repair it. Not helpful at all to his race, that's for sure. But again, Owen still in DRS here, just barely. Losing time, tires wearing. This is around the time some of these guys should be pitting. Mainly Valk, going to be the big one who might be pitting around this time. Keep in mind with Qatar, you got to keep it within those white lines. A lot of controversy recently with that white line. Same with overtaking in the pit lane. Not a lot here in RPL, apparently. Should only be a thing under green flags anyway, I'm pretty sure, but I think that's maybe the way it's written. I'll have to double check on the way it's written to be 100% sure, but anyway, we got a couple different DRS trains in the run to turn 1. I think the closest one to see some overtakes will be Ben's. Similar to last season, if there's no drivers going to go balls to the walls with these overtakes, it just becomes a race where everyone sits in each other's DRS and figures it out once the pit stop cycle comes around. And it looks to be the same way once again. I really do apologize for missing that overtake from Gecko for the race lead. I was really focused on what was happening on the back of the field. I didn't see the gap for a moment, but top 4 are in their own little world at the front of the field. And then it's George, not too far behind. Now Owen turns on the battery, so he should be pitting soon here. Not very soon, but soon. And we'll find out when that is for the Mercedes driver who has helped the team score 5 consecutive podiums to start the season. Now the battery distance is 6% between Gecko and Owen. Rear wing open on the main straight. Here he comes. Not close enough. Wiggling. Don't know what that was for. Bonker still in DRS, and Centric's out of DRS, and now could be facing some threats from George and Leon Miner. Another penalty. That's in the fight with Tadpole, who's going to make the move at the final corner. Tadpole now using that battery, rear wing open. Does Leon defend this toughly? He's going to push him to the edge of the track. Leon going very aggressive. Tadpole getting the place over Leon. Tadpole goes a little wide, though, because of Leon's entrance to the corner while defending. But Tadpole, with the Alpine straight line speed and the Alpine car having the upper edge in the AlphaTauri, does keep the place. And does get the place, in fact, with that overtake. Fastest lap from Paulo, God, so he's going fast on fresher tires, so obviously fresher tires going to help these guys out. We should be seeing pit stops soon here with a change to hard tires from some of these guys. Maybe softs if you're Owen or George. PC does allow for better tire wear, so we'll see what those guys do end up doing. Going to continue to conserve battery is Owen once again. J&T in the thick of things with Valk here. Going to use that better, I think. He's already below 30%. J&T does pass Valk on the main straight and does get the move done. Not clear just yet, but he is clear now. Head of the female Brazilian driver here. She obviously is losing time on those softs, but she needs to pit now. And if she doesn't, tough luck for her. It's not going to work out here on these soft tires anymore. Especially compared to J&T and mediums, which are wearing as well. And are the faster tire by now. But the good thing for her compared to J&T is we do think she's pitting this lap is the fact that she does have better battery. And she can catch up for 6th place here from the looks of things. But she does need a little more here. I think Owen turned on the battery maybe just for a split second behind Gecko. I'm not sure if Owen is going to pit this time, but once again, he's going to stay behind. He's going to fake Gecko. He's going to have a look, but he struggles in the process, has a little snap, and will lose a little time as Valk finally comes in as the two McLarens do swap places for 6th place. Valk going to the hard tires. I maybe did expect her to go to mediums considering they can go the rest of the distance here, but will be in puncture territory. AMS Egg does come out ahead of her. And Mythic might as well. Yes. If she's coming out where she did, look at where the rest of these guys do come out and could be a blockage for the top 3 runners. And Owen is now finally out of DRS of Gecko. So Gecko has not won a race in Tier 2, but he's had podiums the last 2 weeks. He's won for Ferrari in Formula 1, Tier 1. He's won for Ferrari in Formula Endurance. And now he's trying to take a first Tier 2 win, this time also with Ferrari. And he is the first one to blink. He is in. Bonkers and Owen stay out. Centrix is staying out. So is George. Obviously, the teammate not going to want to double stack. And none of the McLarens pit either. Valk, a 3-second time penalty. That's not good for her race. They've got a train here with Mythic, Tadpole, and Valk. Valk doesn't need to get by these guys quickly enough. Alex Bear gets ahead of Leon, who's struggling, both of them. Hunted now on Beatnik. Going to play some DRS. Swapping games once again. Hunted ahead. Let's see where Gecko comes out. He's going to be in this train with the Williams, it looks like. But will he be ahead? This is going to get tight. Yes. Gecko will be safely ahead. Both Williams teammates giving each other a run for their money, being close to one another in this race. Tadpole, Mythic, Valk. Oop, little race in the main straight. Egg comes in. Valk trying to get both of them using bit of battery. Inside line for her. Oh, almost contact. Valk is through in the wheel-to-wheel racing between them two. Not a lot of highlights so far this race, but I think we'll get some after the pit stops happen. Pip is now trying a switchback here on the Williams driver. Leon is in. Bonkers. Second place in this race. A 3-second time penalty. That's going to be crucial to his race as the race leader of Owen is in. And almost speeds. Luckily having ABS off now. Something Owen is trying out. Does help him slow that car down. George is in. Hunted's in. Yano's in. No one's speeding just yet. But we did see track limit penalties picked up from the pit lane. We're going to find out where Owen comes out in comparison to Gecko. There's Gecko. Owen is ahead, but Bonkers may come out in the path of these Williams. Nope, ahead, but farther behind Gecko is Owen and Bonkers both. And Valk also gets Yano coming out of the pit lane. Valk may be in a race here with Hunted now. Net P6 here for Valk. Exactly what Mercedes needs in this battle with Ferrari in the constructors table. This is beneficial to them, no doubt in my mind about that. Look at where Ferrari run. 1 ahead of Owen. 2 behind Owen with one of their cars. This is exactly what they need, Mercedes with Valk. 6th place right now. May not be anything too impressive, but you factor in she had a qualifying ban, started P19. She's coming out net P6 right now and could be net P7 with now Centrix finally in. Last of the medium runners, J&T should be the last one to come in, and he is doing so. Hard runner Beatnik could go as far as lap 19 or 20 on those set of hards. AMS Egg, a penalty. Bonkers and DRS of Owen. Owen losing time to Gecko. Thing with Gecko is he's 20% lower than Owen on the battery, and Gecko, fastest lap of the race. Here's Centrix coming out of the pits behind both Williams, but going to be ahead of George Alp Williams and that Ferrari. J&T coming out behind Valk, so net P7 for Valk is correct, but she's within DRS of Hunted now. The two have collided twice now since this game cycle started in Tier 2. Mythic gonna give Polo God a fight for his money. Sorry, run for his money, but a fight in that. Two completely different cars, two completely different drivers, two completely different races, and ones that have both been screwed over at some point or another. Wheel to wheel, Polo God loses the place. 2.7 Owen is now to Gecko. Halfway through this race. And we got Centrix in the back of Benz, who's yet to pit. Same with Zatsy. Here goes Centrix in. Or sorry, Centrix on the outside. Well, Zatsy's in, excuse me. Centrix around the outside. Gonna be pinched off the road. Owen, fastest lap. Now let George take advantage of this because he's gonna do just that. 3 abreast here on the main straight. George gonna take advantage of both once again. But it ain't over. Centrix around the outside. Trying for a cutback. Not enough momentum. It's going to be George's place. P5. Net P4. Valk also gets hunted. No collision there this week. There was one last week. She is on the run, and she's got to find a way to catch up to Ben's. Yellow flags. That is for the Alpine. That is Polo God. More struggles in his race. And he's coming under the pit lane. Alex Bear also exiting the pit lane, pitting for the first time this race. The only runners yet to pit do include Benz and Beatnik. Centrix, though, all over the back of George. Look at this. Oh, he still can't find a way past. Beatnik finally in from the race lead. But here's Centrix. Not going to allow George to play any DRS mind games, but there will be DRS for Centrix in the main straight on George. Similar battery. And now Centrix takes the place. He's up in a P4 once again. Mythic with a penalty. Main straight, Hunted and Valk going back at it. Ding dong battle. Valk loses the place over Hunted. Clean racing this time between these two. She's doing a great job. It needs to be said. She has 10 penalty points this season so far, but she's got to avoid 2 more in order to not have a race ban once again. She's already had one this game cycle due to penalty points, but she's trying to avoid a second one this time in Season 11. Owen has gained more of that gap now. Look at this. Both drain their battery. Really, the top 5 both have all drained their battery. It's only Beatnik with good battery here in the top 8. But Owen is caught up, though. Gap less than 2 seconds now as Polo God picks up a time penalty. We have 7 different drivers a part of the penalty club this race. Okay, put 3 second. Hunted 3 second. Polo God is in. If he's retired, yeah, he's just retired. He needs to show them that he has damage visible to be retiring in the pit lane, or else he's going to be facing some trouble. Mythic took me out on purpose, and I lost force feedback. Yeah, I did mention that, Wavy. It's unfortunate. I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but if we see a clip, we can definitely add it into the race highlights for sure. Low on fuel is Zatsy. With no safety cars coming out, this is one of the places you can't underfuel. You actually have to overfuel because of that. And I think it was the Tier 2 race last season. Maybe. I think Leon was one to run out of fuel, but that's Leon for you. In a race that was safety car free with Japan, I want to say, last season in Tier 1. And there were a few in Tier 2 as well. France was one of them. Safety car free. Round 5. Where those guys ran out of fuel, and we could be seeing the same again. No VSCs or safety cars tonight so far. Alex Bayer penalty. The gap between the race lead, though, is closing, and it's 1.1. And now Owen, with Bonkers following, is about to enter DRS here once again, and we could be seeing a fight with all gloves off for this race lead. Thank you for the point of view, Wavy. I will mention that on stream right now. Mythic side by side with Wavy. Hold on, we're gonna go to this battle with, in fact, one of the Academy teammate cars, Zassy through and Kipu. So at least you get to watch the rest of this race, Wavy, and see what your cars can do as a team principal now. Wavy are on the outside of Mythic, and Mythic loses the rear, and that I'm not going to assume right now, right? But I can see why you think that's intentional. That does look pretty bad on Mythic's end. Just gonna say that right now. And Owen, on lap 19 of 29, has entered DRS. Guggy, I know you're upset, but I don't mean to be mean to either you or Leon. But what more did you expect in the worst car of this in this game? Let alone it's Leon. You've raced him before. I hate to say what do you expect. I'm sorry, but what do you expect? We got a 3-car race underway. We had it last week with Gecko Knights and Owen, but now it's 3 different teams. Beatnik through on Valk. She's struggling, and Beatnik has no penalties. So Valk will have to contest for P8, maybe P9, with J&T catching up once again. He got points in this race last season in his RPL return. Looking to do so once more. Three tenths he's following behind. AMS Egg, 3-second time penalty. He's now been overtaken by Benz for a place outside the points, but a place is at stake for the race lead. Similar battery, but more to lose from Gecko. Bonkers, the disadvantage for him is going to be that time penalty. I doubt it gets appealed, but he's going to help his competitors do force themselves into some misfortunes and do get some themselves. Here's the 2 McLarens doing another swap on the main straight. Beatnik on the fresher, medium, and better tires. Tadpole with a penalty. Leon Miner with a penalty. Got 9 runners with penalties in this race. Half of our runners left have penalties. Gecko's lagging, and Owen's caught up from it. Owen is running the back of him. Is Gecko not in the session anymore from that? Look at this. Gecko is 2nd week in a row has lagged out. And again, last week it was a net lead. This time it's the race lead. Owen's been gifted for the 2nd week in a row a race lead from it. We're going to invite him back. We have to. Spinner. It's AMS Egg. He's had an off. He's now 16th. No end plate missing, but confidence missing now. Gecko has been put in no man's land at a DRS by a staggering margin now. 2.5 back as he looks to join back the session here. Now, last week I said something very controversial here, and it was the fact that Owen, if he turns off ABS or just let alone, he can beat Cookie. Cookie's beatable, I said. And I said, to add on to that, I said Owen's one of 3 or so drivers who can beat Cookie in Tier 1. Along that list comes I would say Korsman, Scyther. Egg has now got a penalty. I really do wonder, as AMS Egg now retires in the pit lane, maybe giving up. Maybe with rearing damage. I say it with Owen. Not to be biased. Some said I was, and maybe said it was delusion. But I really truly believe that now, because this week he's without ABS. And he's outpacing Red Bull, who's going to try to take over the net lead. It's Bonkers around the outside. Owen's going to defend, even though Bonkers does have that penalty. Just in case he appeals, you still want to go for it. And retired car comes out of the pit lane again. Going to be a blockage for George and Centrix. I don't know. Why is he's like blocking the exit of the pit lane? Why is Egg retired? Does he have a ring damage? Does he have unrepairable damage? Does he have an emergency? If not, expect to see a clip submitted by those others that, again, someone is giving up for not a valid reason. Or no reason given just yet. I like to see the drivers defend themselves, but I don't like to see drivers constantly retiring in the pit lane. Yes, there is a way to join. I think the Chiller's helping you out with that. It is a realistic league, by the way, for those of you tuning in for the first time. And you don't always expect in a realistic league to see a Mercedes this dominant, but Owen, in this switch to PC, has put it to perfection. And he could go for a 17th tier 2 win today. Bonkers loses the rear. Snap. And that could be a snap away from taking the race lead once again, or trying to. Nope, he's going to do it anyway. Around the outside. Here he comes. Can he hold it? No. Owen covers it beautifully and right in the path of Bonkers. George and Centrix are going for a move on one another on the main straight. George gets the overtake done. P4 for him. No one else looks to be any closer than they were. Oh, race lead, race lead, race lead! Bonkers at turn number 4 and 5. Gonna go for it. Outside line. He's gonna try to gap Owen with that penalty, but Owen covers him beautifully. My God. Beautiful defense. Yeah, the only requirements that I'm aware of for Tier 1 is ABS off. Tier 2 doesn't have any besides what you just mentioned in chat. A requirement for Gecko should be not to lag out in a lobby hosted by Owen, because he just spoke of that earlier, as I think he's back in the session, though. He is. Bonkers heating up. Owen wants this lead now. He knows if he gets this lead, even with worse battery, he can try to pull a gap, but I don't see that happening. Owen knows he's got the faster car on hand, but look at that. No, I think Gagi did communicate it a little bit, Darius. Here we go. Bonkers again. It's going to be him to the race lead, but he has a penalty at the expense of that, so he's got to pull a 3-second gap. With this battling, it might not happen. Centrix and George once again trading spots. George is low on fuel. This could be a big factor before the end of this race. It's Centrix who clears George for P4. Tier 1 is line only. Okay, thank you. I think in our links section, if you click on the Twitch, there should be a link to the Discord. If that doesn't work out, I think Darius can help you out with that. Darius being the chiller. Thank you guys for helping out there. Yeah, it's in the channel description. Twitch description. Darius, remind Owen, Jack, and Luke that I think the links for the Linktree, Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter need to be updated. We'll do that after this race, because someone was looking to join not too long ago, and they cannot join off of an invite link from those. However, I will say, this battling with Bonkers has caused Owen to use that battery, and, Bonkers has got worse battery, but here we go. Little defensive move from Bonkers. Not going to matter, because Owen takes the lead of the race and defends that beautifully. Once again, he's going to keep the race lead here at turn 1. The defense from turn 6, though, was a lot better than the one at turn 1. But Owen, not away from Bonkers just yet. Bonkers trying to stick his nose in there. Gecko's even gaining on these guys with this battling. This could be a big factor for Owen at the end of this race. Bonkers weaving and bobbing, but not enough to make a move. Says it's invalid. Okay, thank you. The trailer, get him an invite, please. Maybe I could do so. Yep, we'll update it. We'll update it after this one. My apologies. And by the way, my comment I made about Owen as Gecko's back in DRS finally, he is pushing his ass off. But my comment I made about Tier 1 with Owen, that's assuming him and Cookie are in the same car. I don't think he could do this in Mercedes, but if TB or the other main driver in Mercedes, Be Good, misses a race, got some competition, and he's got competition now for the race lead once again with just 3 laps remaining. Bonkers takes the lead of the race once again, but he has a penalty while Gecko is right there in the thick of things, hoping to get this back. If he can come from a lag out to victory, from 2.5 seconds back from the race leader, might be one of the best victories this game cycle in Tier 2. In race number 100 of all tiers combined. I can get an invite link now, but we got a race on our hands still. It is not over, and Gecko is there to pounce as well. He's caught up 2 seconds the last couple laps. Give him credit. He's not done yet, and he is sweating his butt off, especially considering he's lagged out in Owen's lobbies 2 weeks in a row. And I really do wonder what can happen here with the fuel situation. I don't think any of these 3 are low on fuel, but one's further behind, such as George, Yano, Zatsy, they're low on fuel. 3-car race now into turn 1. Owen's going to make the move. Bonkers cuts him off, and that was dangerous. But now Gecko on the outside line looks to take the lead of the race, and he does so on the penultimate lap. Owen boxed in and now down to 3rd. Net P2, and he might be losing a race for the 2nd time this season once again. Wow, that was dangerous from Bonkers. But was it fair? Was it on the limit? Yeah, the thing is, I believe it was maybe Reese who got a 3-second penalty with Stenner for a move similar to that, but not as bad as that one in Tier 1 in Qatar. That was too late from Owen. Bonkers on Owen, excuse me. While I'm at it, I'm going to change controller batteries for this final lap. I think Bonkers is now letting Owen go and having a tackle at this final lap. Keep in mind, Gecko has not as much better as Owen, but we've got a race in our hands for the final lap. If Owen can stay in DRS, this could be a miraculous finish. I'm going to change batteries the quickest you've ever seen here. Around the outside. Can Owen do it? He has done it from 9/10 back on the main straight. He takes the lead of the race on the last lap. Yellow flags further back. And if he could just hold on for the last 2 sectors, a 17th win all time, and another one this season. Gecko's got a couple more chances. Hunted. 3-second time penalty. Gecko continue to try to drain the battery to catch back up. He's got a little bit more to go. Zatsy's around and out of fuel. The fuel has hit now with no safety cars. And now Gecko's low on fuel. Can he make it though? And try to overtake for the race lead. It's going to be a drag race to the line on the last lap. George is out of fuel. George is out of fuel as well. One last straight, and it's going to be a drag race to the line. 29 laps have come down to this. 100 races on the Tier 2 game cycle, and race 100 is going to be 100 races in the game cycle, all tiers. It's Owen winning Qatar. It's not over to the line. Beanick, who's got a penalty, might safely get George here. Hunted through as well. George just hang on to P5 after that. And in all tiers combined, race 100 of this game cycle will go to Owen. It's going to be Gecko and Bonkers running out the podium. Gecko couldn't do it. Second, a bridesmaid in Tier 2 once again. Centrix, George, Beanick, Valk, J&T, Hunted, and Yano at his return run out the points. Hunted just ninth place, 2/10 off of J&T. Out of fuel, maybe, is Benz coming to the line. He was low, but it's a side-by-side finish. And Benz will get Tadpole. We have 2 more runners to cross the line to finish this race that ended up safety car free and VSC free. Wow. Zatsy's out of fuel. What a heartbreak for him. 3 consecutive points finishes are done for him. And he's now going to finish worse than 12th for the first time this season and since his return. All things do not last forever, but Zatsy knows that himself now as he is out of fuel and comes to the line to be the last driver in this race to cross it. Owen wins again, and he has still not finished worse than second this game cycle, and he's going to extend that championship lead once more after winning Qatar. Driver of the day. I feel like there's a couple of choices I could go with. Seriously. I either go with Gecko, J&T, or Yano, I think. Or Valk, that's true. Valk is a fair point. I think Valk kind of had too many penalties at the end and lost pace. I'm gonna give her second for my driver of the day, but I'm gonna give it to Gecko. Lagging out and leading the race with 1 lap to go and coming up just 2/10 short. After lagging out, 2 seconds back, coming back for that. Yeah, that's my driver of the day. Top 4 runners finish in the same top 4 spots they started in, excuse me. George, once again, 5th place for Ferrari. Beatnik, a good showing tonight, but had a penalty. Valk, P7. J&T, another good run here in the points. Yano, the last points runner. Hunted left early, so he'll be put back in the points. Ben's just outside the points. He made it to the flag after last week where he didn't even make it past Sector 1. So, fair enough. And there's your last runners. Only 3 DNFs in tonight's race. How about that one, folks? 15 of you watched that ending. And I wish I could have told you right at the first time in Tier 2. Our 100th race in the game cycle for all tiers would see Owen win with that mistake. My goodness. Bonkers, like, literally tried everything to get in the way. Whether he meant to or not, fair play. Honestly, he gave us a good race there at the end to look forward to. And I was trying to change controller batteries. Maybe I could have stayed in a little bit more. Didn't want it to die during that battle, but fair enough. Fair enough. The gap for the championship lead is going to be over 85 points. And Owen already has more points than some of the guys do during the championship season. Not just one driver, some of them now. More than one. Folks, we have more racing in this weekend for RPL. I know there was just a new member in our Twitch chat who joined us. And if you are new to RPL, follow. If you haven't followed already the Twitch and you're a member in RPL, I don't know what you're doing because you won't have notifications beside the Twitch channel. Or sorry, the Twitch stream channel in the Discord, excuse me. Either way, we've got F1 racing in Tier 1 tomorrow in Imola. We've got that at 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. British Standard Time. And we've got Monza for Formula Endurance, 7 p.m. British Standard Time on Sunday. A 100% race in Monza, but we finish off the weekend in Italy. One for Monza, one for Imola. I'll be on Tier 1 commentary tomorrow. I'll be on Tier 1 commentary, or Formula Endurance commentary Sunday as well. For those of you wanting to tune in, don't miss the action here in RPL. Glad to have you all join us for tonight for Tier 2 racing once again. Next week in Tier 2, next week, we return to a track we've not raced at this game cycle in RPL Tier 2, Saudi Arabia. That could either be a disaster class or it could be a very chaotic one, but a good race at that. We'll find out what happens next week and the rest of this weekend in RPL for whenever you choose to tune in next week. Tier 2, the rest of this weekend, F1 and FE. Either way, I'm your commentator and host for tonight, Ryan Searles. We will see you for the next time here in RPL. Until next time, have a good night, folks. Bye-bye.